Real estate has risen in price in certain cities. The only issue is that we have a different scenario with incomes. These are falling further and further away from each other and is not going to stop. Hang on, because this is the 2.0. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today, we are going to look at real estate prices in the US, and then I want to also talk about vehicle debt. Let's begin. Household income increase needed to buy median priced house in key cities. So let me just cover the summary first. This chart illustrates the income increase needed to afford the median priced house in the most populated cities. So we have several cities here, and we can see that the national percentage is 6. Okay, that is, I believe, to be a little high, but it's reasonable. Okay. And then you look at all of the other cities and you realize it's a lot higher. In fact, if we go to the opposite end of the spectrum, to San Francisco and Los Angeles, we see that these percentages exceed 100. Most of the largest US cities are completely unaffordable to the typical end user shelter buyer with 10% down payment. So you ask the question, if this is the case, then why do we keep seeing prices rise? Why do we keep seeing homes being sold? This can't be true if they're completely unaffordable. This is an extreme scenario that we see not nationally, as you can see, but in the major cities. And the major cities in Canada are experiencing this to an even greater degree. Think about real estate prices in Vancouver, Toronto, New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, okay, just to name a few. The prices have risen to a point that they are not affordable to the average consumer who buys them. So they're buying it, they can't afford it. For example, you go to the store, you buy a laptop from the Apple store, it's $3,000, you pay with your credit card, and then you pay off the minimum payments every month. You can't afford the laptop, you still bought it. Legally, lawfully, you're just paying the minimum payment. And that laptop is going to take you 9 years to pay off, and instead of costing $3,000, it's going to cost you $5,000, but the point is that you were able to buy it. And that's exactly what's happening with real estate. Just as an example, in Toronto, because that's where I live, you'll see homes that go for well over $1 million being sold to a couple, let's say a new family. They are way in over their heads, but their belief is that if we don't get in now, we'll never be able to get in. And so they take on mortgages of $1 million plus. There's no way that they can afford it, but they just figure as long as everything stays the same, we can make our payments and we're okay. But the truth is that nothing ever stays the same. There's always things that are changing. This is no exception. So I want to stress to everyone that you're able to buy things even when you can't afford it. The bank will give you as much money as you want. That's not a problem. Getting money from the bank, not a problem. Continuing to pay that, that's the challenge. Divergence between actual household income and income needed to buy the median priced house. This is interesting. Again, the national is -6, and you look at this, how bad this becomes in the same cities: New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles. You're talking about, in the end, you're getting towards 50%. The bottom line, most of the largest US cities are completely unaffordable. It basically covers the same thing. The greater the negative, the more expensive house prices are relative to the household incomes of the end user, shelter buyer. So this is talking about essentially people. They earn an income, whatever that is, let's say household income at $80,000. Okay, so they're making a household income, 2 people, they're making $80,000, and they are buying homes that are in many cases $1 million plus. If you do the math, you realize that that's going to take a very, very long time to pay off, and that assumes that interest rates remain low, that mortgage rates will remain low. And if they increase, these people who are currently in detached homes will soon find themselves in rental properties if things continue to go with interest rates rising and things becoming more precarious. So that's the main topic that I wanted to cover. This is also something, it's more just for your own interest. From this CoreLogic website, you basically put your mouse over the different areas and it shows you the mortgage fraud in your particular state. So if you're in the States, you can take a look at this, put your mouse over that, and of course California being right up there. It's interesting if you want to check it out for yourself. I just wanted to mention it. Borrowed buyers. The number of leased vehicles hit a record high in 2016, swelling the used car market. And one of the things that I wanted to point out here, there are different reasons why people lease vehicles. That's obvious. A lot of people have businesses, they use up the cars, they want a new car all the time. Other individuals, they want to lease a car today because in, let's say, 3 years from now, they know that their plans are going to be different. They don't want to necessarily fork out a lot of money right away. So they lease the vehicle. Maybe they, there could be a different array of reasons why. However, I believe a lot of people simply look at the price. This is my income. This is my monthly affordability. Therefore, I will lease instead of buy. So when leased increases, I believe that we see a growing trend, and it's no different than what we see with credit cards and mortgages and everything else. So that's the point I wanted to make there. And last but not least here, speeding down. The average used car lost 17% of its value in the 12 months ended June 30th. That's something very interesting, and I do believe it's all vehicles. A lot of people spend a lot of money on their vehicle. And there's, I don't judge anybody. If you want to buy a very nice car, luxury vehicle, by all means. But make sure you can afford it. A lot of people, quite frankly, cannot. And so they take on too much debt. They can't really make the payments. They struggle along. What I've been noticing is a dramatic increase in payday loan, different sort of cash money, all of these different services that are available where you can get a small loan for a low cost. And that's something along the lines of, I believe I've seen $300 loan for $20. Or a $100 loan for something like $1 on your first time. Of course, you'll have to come back. And these type of businesses, they're opening up everywhere, all over the place. And they're a booming business. This is what tells me that people are struggling. People are struggling more than ever. Look, that individual might take that loan for $300. He might go to the store. He might buy a whatever iPad or whatever it is. And there you go. The economy has been boosted. But that individual now owes $20 to that corporation, to that company. So is he going to be able to pay back? Does he have the $20 to pay back? Is he going to have to sell that new iPad that he bought? Well, I don't know. All I'm saying is that we have sort of a fictional type economy, and people ultimately, just like the ostrich, they stick their head in the sand and they ignore reality. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. If you like reality, give me a thumbs up. If you want to stick your head in the sand, give me a thumbs down. Last but not least, if you found this video informative, I know you will find my books, The Money GPS and my new release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. These books are available at Amazon. They're also available at places like Barnes & Noble and everything else. But if you want to take a look at the Amazon link, it's down in the description below. You can flip through the books there. Take care.